Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. I apologize. I had a 3:05 time set up, which I thought was 3:30. That is so random. I apologize, everyone. I'm not sure what happened with that, but the same thing this morning. Thank you so much for stopping in. As you can see, this is Next Gen NYC. This is the Bravo show, the Peacock show. The first 2 episodes are actually on YouTube. And then also Team Replay, thank you so much for stopping in. I appreciate you, everyone. So Cece came in, and she may have came in and left because I know she was working. Thank you, Sharon Gobble, for coming in. I appreciate it. And she's one of the people that was also watching. Hello, Linnell Seiler. Hello. I was explaining that I apologize in advance because for some reason I set this up at a random time of 3:05. I think it was because I just finished a 2:30 live, but I thought I had this scheduled for 3:30, so I apologize. Trish 612 is here, one of my moderators. Sharon Gabo is speaking to CC. Thank you, everyone. This is just going to be Next Gen NYC, the 2nd episode, and this is a Bravo show. It's a Peacock show, and it's with children of the housewives, at least half the cast. I think the majority of the cast, actually. And we find out during this episode that the others feel some kind of way about that. But what I would like to let them know and remind them, we're watching the show for the most part for the children of the housewives because I don't know the other people. And again, I only picked this show up to be kind of in the corner of Riley Barris, who is Candy Barris's daughter from Real Housewives of Atlanta. I know of Gia Giudice. I'm willing to take Gia Giudice under my wing as well, as long as she doesn't do anything too crazy or come for Riley, which it looked like preseason she was going to try to do that. But in tonight's episode, it looks like the other young adults might be coming against the housewife children. So I'm not sure. We'll see what's going to happen with that. I'm going to throw a banner up here because I'll be giving my own opinions on what I think about the show. I know they're real people, but the different characters in the show. And I call them characters because even though it's reality TV, there's going to be some contrived situations. We already see a couple of them. And then one of them is so silly. I don't even know if it's going to be a part of the storyline. George Washington of the unwashed hands. She's trying to make that a thing. And I see a couple of cast members trying to paint Riley as aggressive. Riley is so far from aggressive that charge is actually ridiculous. But I could tell that they were going to do something like that. A lot of them are children of privilege. Some of them are faking the funk. And actually, Trish 612, if you have not started watching this yet, they are doing too much. I might watch, but I think they're going to try to do too much, especially the ones not even housewives kids. Trish 612, that is exactly what's going on, and it's only 2 episodes in because Brooks Marks' mother, Meredith Marks, is on Real Housewives Salt Lake City, which I do not watch, but I'm aware of the Salt Lake City ladies because of Mary Crosby. They had some racism in their first season, and Mary Crosby removed herself from that business, and she just came back. So I'm aware of Mary Crosby. I still have not watched the show, but Brooks Marks is kind of I called him last week the glue to the show. He has brought in his friends, people that he knows. So there's a universe of Brooks's friends. So he's kind of one of the main characters, but most of the people are watching because of the housewives kids. So Ava is known. She's not a housewife kid, but she has a reality TV background. She was in growing up hip hop. She's Damon Dash's daughter. She's the daughter of Rachel Roy. They talked about Rachel tonight. Rachel Roy, y'all, is Becky with the good hair. So Ava, in my opinion, allegedly possibly cannot be trusted, not just because of her genes, just because of certain things that about Rachel Roy. And then the way Ava moves as well as also. I think that she's just now started to be around Damon Dash. We used to see him sometime in growing up hip hop, but I don't think that she was raised with him. She mentioned in this episode that her and her mother moved to LA years ago. They were divorced when she was 8. So Rachel, they showed at the time, they had a lot of news articles and stuff about it. And it looks like Ava and Rachel's other children, they moved to the West Coast. And then Damon ended up moving out there too some years later. But they're just now getting to know each other. So Sharon Gabo, I know, was going to watch some. Yes, I feel it's going to be about the others versus the housewives kids. Yeah, I think they're feeling a little bit maybe jealous, Sharon. Kind of see some of the talk that was happening. I didn't really appreciate that because honestly, nobody's going to be watching the show if not for them bringing in the Housewives audience. You have the Jersey people, they really have their picks. A lot of people don't like Gia, but then a lot do. Some of the Teresa fans, they're going to be there. We got Real Housewives of Atlanta. I watched that show. I'm a supporter of Riley because of just watching her from the age of 6. Kim Zolciak's daughter is the other one, Ariana. We've not heard word of Brielle. I don't know if she's going to make an appearance or not. I'm surprised they didn't get Noelle, other than Noelle, we know she's 25. She's within that perfect age group, but Noelle has her own career. She's a model. She does content creation. She's an influencer. Noelle was actually in Teen Vogue like two or 3 weeks ago. I showcased her on one of my lives. Noelle, Cynthia Bailey's daughter, is second generation housewife. We know who she is, but she just moved to LA. So I can understand. But also the Grand Dame's daughter, is her name Brooke? I can't remember. Karen Huger has a daughter that is within that age group as well. But yeah, there's some other kids that could be on there as well. So far we've got Brooks, Gia Giudice, Riley, and Ariana. I don't trust Ava either. We'll see what's going to happen with that, though, Sharon Gabo. Angela A., one of my moderators, thank you so much. Welcome in. I appreciate you coming in. And I'm talking about Next Gen NYC. That's the new show about the kids of the Housewives taking place in New York. She came in and spoke to the rest of the mods and everybody else. And now we know we ended last week. Georgia, she's one of the 2 New York natives. It's her, and then it's Charlie. He wants to be known as this cryptocurrency trader. But let me tell you how Charlie trades his cryptocurrency. His father gives him $10,000 a month allowance, and then he trades on that. So far be it for me to knock it. You know, if you can get it, get it. So I've never heard of a career where your parents stake you, and then you say that's his business. That's part of his business. So I don't know if any money to be made or not. Now, this episode, we also were introduced to his roommate, whose name is Dylan. He was a college athlete. He said that he got hurt. He is doing some type of online content creation as well. But interestingly enough, he has an OnlyFans page, which Charlie kind of looks down on. But Dylan says he's never seen Charlie actually work. And he said, you're a trust fund kid. If you don't have to work, don't work. Sharon, let me see. Riley is my favorite as well, because actually I tuned in for her, followed by Ariana, Brooks, and then Gia. Yeah, I'd have to go in that order. Now, I stopped watching Real Housewives of New Jersey some time ago because the Teresa and Melissa feud was just doing too much. So I don't feel the way about Gia that a lot of people do. They said Gia got real mouthy and real bossy and real invested in anything involving Teresa's disputes, which I can understand because, Joe and Teresa went to jail. So Gia kind of had to be grown up and kind of take over that family. Angela A. says she's going to catch up. And they actually have both episodes on YouTube. It's only 2 episodes in. They have both episodes on YouTube. So I think it's worth watching. It's kind of a cute show. All right. So I took a couple of notes and I'll just talk about it. So they were drinking wine. They started making fun of Riley because of her reaction to Georgia, the New York kid that looks like George Washington. She's supposed to be some kind of event planner or one of these people that throw parties and things like that. I don't like the way I said it, the first review. I don't care for Georgia yet, y'all. And I think she's a little phony. She's putting on this New York voice. If you're a kid of the 80s, if you remember, let's say Pretty in Pink, Steph from Pretty in Pink, the James Spader character, the way they just talk, like they can't really be bothered to, give a sentence. It's just a certain way of being that they would present the rich kids as, kind of like a Valley Girl type thing, but not even as precise as that. You just have to watch it and you'll see what I mean. So they're making fun of Riley because of how Riley reacted. She said she was like a ruler. She protracted, which Georgia tries to be above the other young adults, but she's not, because rulers don't protract. They retract. I wanted to let her know that. So she comes out of the bathroom and didn't wash her hands, and Riley would not accept a hug from her. So she's telling the rest of the group about this, and they're making fun of it. Charlie's having the cryptocurrency kid. He's having a great deal of fun making fun of Georgia about it. And Georgia and them are trying to paint Riley as being aggressive because she wouldn't allow that. Oh, that's going to get on my nerves. I probably can't stand fake or phony. I trust 612. I know how you watch TV, so I don't know. Just watch at least episode 1 and then maybe some or 2, because like I said, I know you did watch Growing Up Hip Hop. Ava is on there. She's annoying on this too because she is kind of wish wishy-washy, kind of in between both camps. And yeah, she's not to be trusted. But we already see that she's not to be. That's what Sharon said too. Sharon sees it in her as well. Ava's not to be trusted. So they were drinking wine. They were making fun of Riley. They started making fun of Gia. So Riley, Charlie said that he met Riley a year ago. Their personalities are similar, so don't mess with her. So I did appreciate that Charlie kind of put them on notice about Riley. Riley is no nonsense, because I think they're going to come in here and push Riley around, which I told them last week review. That's not going to happen. And I don't think she should be messed with. Riley hasn't done anything. And then when she did that with the no washing hands thing and tried to be cute about it, I'm a New York kid. I believe in germs. I used to eat candy off the ground. I'm a Yonkers, New York kid, and we didn't eat off the ground. So Georgia, maybe she come up in an area where you could eat off the streets, but that's not a thing. I don't know where she's getting that from, but that's what she's saying. Okay, Dylan claimed that Riley had threatened to punch him. So it was funny. They go to a confessional with Riley and said, did you really want to punch Dylan the first time you met him? Riley said, I invited him out. He showed up with 10 guys, and then he got mad because she left them on the curb. She said, you can't go anywhere with 10 people, which is true. What she said, you can't go anywhere in New York with 10 people. That is true, but that goes for anywhere, Riley. If you invite someone and they show up and they are actually 10 people deep, and you're supposed to let all these people in free, but they're going to eat and drink free too? So I didn't blame Riley. So I don't know what happened, how it escalated, but she offered to punch him. And he still remembered that. He said they're cool now. So I agree with Riley on that. And then they clown Gia. They said, do you know who Gia is? One kid claims he never heard of her. I don't know who that is. If you're in New York, I think you've heard of New Jersey Housewives, and you've heard of Gia. Gia is one of the more well-known children on the Housewives because she is front and center. She's been showcased since she was little, but they were making fun of that little song one time Teresa was trying to have her singing, and Gia was like 6. She was nervous, and she was like, when I wake up in the morning thinking up so many things, and it was funny, but it's kind of viral. So they were making fun of that. I didn't like the fact that this group is making fun of the people that were not there, because as we see later, when these same people are in front of their face, they didn't have that same energy. But that is what we're going to have going on here. I can tell they've already divided into 2 camps, and it's going to be difficult for Brooks because, like I said, Brooks brought in every single person. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. So George Washington says that she didn't like the way Riley was acting, making such a big deal about the unwashed hands. She's never going to live that down. No, Georgia, you're not going to live that down. We like our hands washed. The people I'm around. You don't get a hug if you have not washed your hands, okay? So Meredith Marks and Teresa Giudice meet with their kids, Brooks and Gia. They go to lunch. They discuss the night. They talked about the unwashed hands things. Teresa just going, ooh, which I agree with Teresa. Teresa's still the same. And then they talk about Charlie's text. So Brooks tells his mother Charlie ended up taking Chloe, which is Chloe Marks. She's the sister of Brooks, Meredith's daughter. They went out to brunch or something like that. But Charlie ended up texting Brooks, we can meet up later unless your sister is already at my house. So Brooks didn't like the way Charlie said that. And he had the right instincts as far as Charlie, because Charlie's supposed to be this man about town, even though he doesn't have a real job or money. He figures himself that he's the ladies' man. I think he's corny, and we'll see later on that he actually is corny. So we have Ava and Amira. They walk and talk. Amira is the content creator. She has so many followers on TikTok. I've since heard that Amira is transgender. I went through the whole first review without mentioning it because I did not know, okay? I'm Gen X. I don't look at people. I just look at what they present themselves as. I don't try to figure out who they are, what they are, anything like that. Amira presented as Amira. Amira even has a boyfriend, so I didn't think anything about transgender. I've just heard people say that now, but honestly, looking at her, I still wouldn't know, okay? So Ava and Amira walking and talking. They're both models, but Amira is the content creator, which Ava wants to get better at doing because Amira has millions of followers on TikTok. So Amira's saying that her boyfriend's name is Kevin. He's the first boy that she's taking home. Ava's dating someone named Hook that she met through Charlie. Damon Dash let us know last week that Ava only dates white boys. Okay, so and Ava, she's raised by Rachel Roy, so she is raised in a different environment, according to what Damon is saying. I have to see more Ava. Even on growing up hip hop, she didn't really seem like she fit in with the rest of the kids. So Amira likes the chemistry between Charlie and Ava, even though Ava just told this girl that she got a boyfriend. She's still mentioning that she wanted Charlie and Ava to get together. Ava says she doesn't see Charlie in that light. She doesn't really like him like that. Amira doesn't believe her, but I do. And here's why. Ava said, she said, he's not a go-getter. He's not, I need somebody to push me and be a go-getter and be kind of a hustler. And Damon Dash being her father, he is a go-getter. He is a hustler. And Charlie being one of these trust fund kids that just lay back and not really do anything and claiming that he's a cryptocurrency trader, but we don't see any evidence of that. Last week, he was getting his hair cut and then told the guy, I'm going to present my card, but I still want you to put it on my father's account. And production left that in. So Charlie's faking the funk. Charlie's one of the ones that he wants to skate by on being a New York kid with money. I don't know if that's going to draw people in, honestly. So we go to another scene with Charlie. He's home with Dylan. Charlie is telling and the dad's there. Charlie's dad is there. He is a big Wall Street guy. So he's some type of trader as well. He's telling his dad that Dylan takes pictures and puts them on OnlyFans, and that's how he makes his money. Charlie kind of is kind of looking down on the work that Dylan does. Now, Dylan doesn't meet with people or have anyone touch him or anything, but he does take these pictures. And the father says, well, you know, if he likes to do that, at least he's working, which I agree. Because like I said, he's funding Charlie to the tune of $10,000 a month. And Charlie's 25 years old, y'all. You know, he might be older than that. I think he said he's 25, but he's one of the older of that group. He even mentioned last week that Lindsay Lohan used to pick him up from school. So Lindsay Lohan is in her late 30s. I thought she was 40 plus, but I think she's in her late 30s. So he was using that as a flex. Damon and Ava go to brunch. Damon is asking her about the rest of the kids and are they all trust fund kids? And Ava's just saying, Charlie kind of is. She doesn't really know about the rest of them. They all getting to know each other. They go to a scene with Ariana and Hudson. Hudson is Ariana's boyfriend. Hudson is the child of his family created Zaxby's and set up the restaurants, those franchises, everything. So he's wealthy. He and Ariana discussed the business. She wants to start a clothing line. I mentioned last week, we don't know anything about whether or not Ariana has done any sewing, any type training toward getting any type experience. But they are in a material shop discussing this business. Now, Hudson was sweet. He was like, well, we'll be 51% for you and 49% for me so that we could trust each other and nobody would actually take anything from each other. You could take from me, but I couldn't take from you. And Ariana's like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And I'm like, Hudson, don't say that on TV because you know what her mother is. Kim right now is getting money from Ariana. She told us last week. I kept looking at Amira. I knew it was something different. Sharon Garbo, you're better than me because I did not know. I heard someone mention. I said, oh, okay. I don't like Charlie either. I just don't like Charlie. I don't. So then here's another thing that I don't like about Charlie. Riley lives in Brooklyn. Riley and Ariana decide to meet. Now we know that the girls, I won't say they fell out because they didn't. They lost touch because Candy and Kim fell out because Kim tried to rob Candy for Tardy for the Party and Ring Don't Mean a Thing. Tardy for the Party was the one that made like $80,000 or $90,000, and Candy was crying about it in the reunion because Kim only gave her $4,000 or $5,000. Andy asked if she would split some more with her, and Kim says, my lawyer says I don't have to. And they fell out after that. And they used to be close. They used to travel together and all of that until Kim used Candy and lost a good friend. Because Candy doesn't mind putting people on, but she expects you to work after she does that. And one of my earlier lives, I showed a clip of that. Candy and Shamia are on the Ricky Smiley show, and they're talking to Gary with the T, and she is reminiscing and telling everybody that she had set up Big Tigger, and I think it's Ryan Cameron's show. It's in Atlanta, but it's a morning show. She set Shamia up to meet those people, and Shamia ended up getting a radio job with them. So I found that interesting. Charlie, so Riley lives in Brooklyn. No, well, first, let me get to first. She calls Candy and she said, I want to meet with Ariana. We haven't seen each other in all these years. And Candy was like, oh, I think that's fine. We just get the phone voice from Candy. I think that's fine. I haven't seen each other in years. Don't let what we do affect you. So Candy thinks it's cool that they meet. Yeah, I used to be buddies. So she calls Ariana. They meet. They're sitting on a park bench just talking. She sends her a text, which I like because they show the text on the screen. Production also shows Riley responding to the text. And Riley was kind of excited. She's a little nervous. Same thing for Ariana. I thought that was so cute. When Ariana was telling Hudson about it, he kind of made a face. I don't know what that was about. But then when she started responding to the text that Riley was sending, like, yeah, we'll get together. Then Hudson was kind of saying, well, ask for lunch or brunch or whatever, this and that. So I thought that was cute that the two young ladies got together. They were kind of reminiscing a little bit. Candy sent them a picture of the two of them. Y'all, they were like 6 years old. And they said, oh my gosh, we were so chunky. That was the first thing they noticed. So that was before anything had been done. Both of them have grown into beautiful young ladies. Thank you for coming in, Mama Bees. Hello, Mama Bees is one of the moderators. I appreciate it. So, yeah, I'm the same, Sharon Gabo. I don't like talking about children looks, but Riley and Ariana have come a long way. And before I even read that comment and posted it, I was saying they've grown up to be beautiful young ladies. Obviously, Riley has had work done on her nose, but it still looks like her face. She still looks like her family. She has a younger brother and sister, Blaze and Ace. They look exactly like their big sister. And Riley, Candy look very much alike, as well as Riley just always puts me in the mind of Mama Joyce. I don't know if it's her mannerisms. It is also her looks. And then when she wears her hair curly and natural, she really looks like Mama Joyce. So if you have to get work done or feel like you want it done, still look like the family. So I think that they both have come a long way. Ariana is beautiful. Certain things, the way she talks, sometimes she'll remind me of Kim, but for the most part, she's just a beautiful young woman. She really is. I want to advise Ariana, Gia, Brooks, and Riley need to stick together because Riley invites everybody to a Brooklyn's night out. So she has them into, I think it's kind of like a bar. They have a seating area and they drink, they're eating and all that kind of stuff. So Charlie is going to he texts Georgia, I hope you come, Georgia. And then he's saying that Riley is still talking about this unwashed hands. Everybody's talking about the unwashed hands. We all talking about the unwashed hands. That's just not a thing. That's not anything that's funny or cute. But Charlie he's kind of a provocateur. He's trying to start a fire. And here's something I really despise. I talk about Kim Zolciak. I think Kim Zolciak is trashy. Ariana did a confessional where she says, I'm used to people judging me based on my mom. I kind of feel bad about that. I didn't judge her based on her mom, but I judged Kim because of Kim's actions. But she's saying, oh, you're white trash, you're this, you're that. I would call Kim that just from her actions. I would never call Ariana that. I don't see that in her because I don't see that in Ariana. She's a young woman. She hasn't done anything to get that kind of criticism yet. We'll see what she shows us through the season, but I don't think that Ariana is white trash. And I feel badly if she feels kind of self-conscious about people judging her based on who and how Kim Z presents herself. But Charlie is sitting around with his group of friends saying, I don't know this girl at all. I don't know this girl, Ariana, but I do know her mom's filed her house for foreclosure. Charlie had to Google Ariana. He seemed really interested. He's saying he doesn't know her, but he's extremely interested in her and her family's business. Ariana hasn't filed for foreclosure on anything. That's Kim and Croy. And I since learned, since last week, I had mentioned that they were still living together. They are not living together. They finally moved apart and the house has finally sold. So I'm happy about that because Croy was very volatile. Kim was calling the police on him. They were calling the police on each other every week when they lived together. So that's really dangerous. So I didn't like Charlie talking to this group of kids about Ariana. But again, Charlie and also George Washington sat together and they talked about Gia so far. They have talked about Riley so far. And so now, of course, they're talking about Ariana. I don't think they were talking about Brooks. Brooks got them the job on the show. So probably I think they're kind of sparing Brooks. But Charlie is still teasing Brooks about, you don't mind if I F your sister, which is really disrespectful. And Brooks already told him he didn't like that. Gia already checked him on it. She didn't like it. Ariana didn't like it either. And then even Riley said something about it. But Brooks is going to have to step to Charlie man to man. They're both adults. So Charlie and George Washington, that's Georgia, they are going out to smoke. I don't think weed is legal in New York, but I guess in certain places you can just smoke wherever you want. They were going out to smoke, not cigarettes. And he said, oh, Ariana, this girl, Ariana, she's got this precious little boyfriend. He's a cuck. How do you know this guy's a cuckold? How do you know that he is a simp or oppressed or anything like that? I don't see that in Hudson. Hudson is a rich kid like Charlie, but Hudson is not being supported by his parents. Hudson is a different type kid. So, y'all, this is the end when they all get together. Georgia is still talking to them, trying to make a my body, my choice thing. That was her excuse for not washing her hands and being upset that Riley said something about it. So Riley, she had invited them there. Riley is there with a cute friend, y'all, cute young Black man. She was there with her friend. Georgia came in and she was like, I washed my hands when I used the bathroom. Can I please hug you? I don't know why she wants to touch and hug Riley so bad. I am not with this transfer of energies anymore. Ever since the Bia virus, I don't really touch. I don't really do a lot of hugging. I don't hold people. I don't really like them to touch me. That's just where I'm at now, unless it's family or people that I know. Okay. So she asked, she's kind of begging, Riley, can I wash my hands? Can I hug you? Riley says, we're good. We're done. Because Riley knows they're making a thing out of it, right? So Riley allows George Washington to hug her. The friend that's with Riley, it's a young male friend. So George Washington puts her hands out to shake her hand to him. They shake hands. He knew about the unwashed hands, so he looked a little pressed, but he shook her hand. And then this is kind of funny. Georgia said, got him. So I don't trust this girl, y'all. I still don't think she's washing her hands. Welcome in, TNTG Mom. Thank you so much for coming in, speaking to everybody. I appreciate it. I'm at the end of the Next Gen NYC review. We're at the unwashed hands part again, okay? Because it's going to be a running theme throughout the season. That and its text that Charlie ended up sending to Brooks about his sister. But she made me laugh with that. She said, got him. So he was kind of like, ugh. And then Gia had made a comment. I don't know if I should carry hand sanitizer or what. Yeah, Gia, carry hand sanitizer because this girl does not wash her hands. She touches the bottom of shoes and she feels like it's a problem if you don't want her to do it. Okay. She's not going to beat these allegations. She's just not. I won't call her nasty this week, but I did last week. It came up, y'all. Georgia also sits on public toilets. Okay. The whole group started trying to tell her, please don't do that again. Georgia, never do that again. She laughing about it. Okay. She agrees with germs, but I don't know where she got that from, but that's what she does. Charlie is still teasing Brooks about his sister. You don't mind if I F your sister? He said it again. And Brooks is like, okay, this is not funny now. And it's not because he keeps bringing him up. He knows it bothers him. I hope Chloe doesn't go out with Charlie again because Charlie is trying to put a notch on his belt so he can talk about Chloe. And I hope that she doesn't do that. Mama Bees is not mincing any words. I was going to try to mince words. She just nasty. Okay. She just nasty. Okay. So Ariana is sitting there and I call Ariana Lil Kim. She's really sweet, but sometimes she turns into her mother's daughter. And she starts to get into it with Charlie, who's rude. They move the conversation outside. The reason they moved it outside is because they had been there a little while eating and drinking, and then they decided Brooklyn is walkable, so they're going to walk about 20 minutes down where they're going. Ava was not there. Ava was in Hamptons. Amira was doing some business in California, so those two were not there. George is trying to annoy Riley to make her seem to be the angry one. Yes, Sharon Gobble, Riley is one of those people. Some people might consider her standoffish or an introvert or a not confrontational or in-your-face type person, but Riley can defend herself. Riley is the grandchild of Mama Joyce. Riley is no punk. And as Charlie said, early on, he said, Riley can defend herself. Our personalities are kind of similar. I don't think they're similar. I think Charlie is a butthole. But I think if they mess with Riley, Riley's going to defend herself, and they're going to use that as she's aggressive, which they don't know what else to come up with against young Black women other than they're aggressive. There's nothing aggressive about Riley not wanting an unwashed hands person to touch her, to hug her, to put her pee and doodle hands on her. You come out of the bathroom and you don't wash your hands. Georgia, I didn't like her from week 1, and I don't like her again week 2. I'm going to try to give everybody a clean slate every week, but Georgia's ending the end of this review with me not caring about Georgia. And now Charlie's on the list. I don't like Charlie. And I want Brooks to stand up or he's going to be on the list as well. I don't like him either. So Ariana when they get to the next place, Ariana asked Charlie, "Why you being a dick?" That's what she said to the man. He was like, "I don't even know you. Up until this time, I've been respectful." And Hudson standing there looking at him. So Charlie gets a little more animated because he's dealing with a young woman. He's dealing with Ariana. Ariana's no punk either. She's like, "Well, so ever since I met you, you are." And he was talking about foreclosure, things like that. He had never met Ariana. He had to Google her because Riley knows Charlie, but I don't think Riley would speak to him about that. I don't know that Brooks would do that. I'm not sure. Now, I'm seeing that some people don't like Brooks. From what Brooks has presented to me, and as I said, I'll give them all a clean slate. A lot of people start out not liking Gia. I give them all a clean slate. I don't think anyone told Charlie that. I think Charlie Googled Ariana, and I think Charlie is thirsty, and he thinks he's better than Ariana. He's not. Ariana's out here working. She says she's been making her own income. She said since 14, so I guess she's considering the brand deals and things like that. But I consider since 6 years old because she was on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She was on Tardy for the Party. Now, she told us that Kim and Kroy have spent her money, and she says they're in a okay place about it, and she doesn't want that to impact her relationship with Kim. I want Kim to pay Ariana her money. I think that's horrible, y'all. This young lady living in a really expensive city, and I don't care that she has a rich boyfriend. Now she has to worry about money because Kim doesn't want to work. Her work wants to be on her back, and she's aged out of doing that. I just think that's wrong. So Ariana's cussing Charlie, and Charlie is saying he's been respectful, which he is not. But he's saying, I've been respectful up to now, but now I'm going to get to a point where I'm not. And Hudson's standing back looking at him, and Hudson said, well, she's right. You are being a dick. And then Charlie said, well, do you want to go around the corner? And Hudson said, you think you're going to do something in your corduroy pants? Y'all, I had to laugh when Hudson. Now, Hudson is from Virginia. Hudson is not a punk. I think if Hudson and Charlie go at it, I know Hudson is probably going to fold Charlie's clothes up with him in it. So if I were Charlie, I would stay out of his face. So when Charlie offered to go around the corner, they go to a confessional with Hudson. And Hudson said, I'm not going to let his dad sue me. Because Charlie leads with his money or his dad's money. Hudson doesn't lead with his money. Production and everybody, they let us know that he was a child of Zaxby's, or I would not have known. Okay, so he just seemed like a regular kid. But I think that he would put hands and feet on Charlie if Charlie touched him. So I found that really funny. And then the preview goes to what Sharon Gobble said. The preview still shows them acting like Riley is an aggressive Black girl. They take a Sprinter bus somewhere. They're in the bus. They get there. They're still talking about something Riley supposedly said. She said, I did not say that. And they're looking like, oh. And then when they get to where they're going, she's like, Charlie. Now, she's known Charlie about a year. Her and Charlie are okay. Riley reaches out to touch Charlie. She's like, Charlie. And she does touch him physically. And he's like, can you please get your hands off me? So now they are painting Riley as aggressive. And we know that Riley's not aggressive. Riley is very laid back. But these kids are a little jealous. There was also a scene, I can't remember which one, because they had a couple of scenes amongst the different friends meeting and kind of gossiping and talking. But there was concern expressed between Charlie and George Washington that they're upset. Oh, these housewives kids. Actually, Georgia was the one that told us. She said Charlie seemed to have a problem with some of the housewives kids. So I think Charlie's worried that he's not going to get to present himself the way that he wants to, and the attention is going to go to the housewives children. And I think that's the case. I'm going to be honest. When I first started watching this show, it was over 20 minutes in episode 1 before they brought Riley on. I was only there to see Riley. So I was like, where's Riley? And then when I was reading the comments, everybody was saying the same thing. Well, where's Riley? So I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen. Hudson was funny. He would wipe the streets with Charlie. Sharon Gobble, that is so true. I'm telling you, people could sleep on him if they want to, but I could tell. I say, yeah, this little Virginia boy, he's not playing. And then once he said, well, Charlie said, well, let's go around the corner. And Hudson was like, he looked at him like, we could go around the corner, but then confessional Hudson was like, his dad's not suing me, because they seem like the type. They will offer to fight you. And then if hands and feet get put on them, then they're going to try to sue. You know, they like to sue. So I find that really funny. We'll see. So that's where the tension is going to be with this unwashed hand thing. It's going to be with the text that Charlie had sent to Brooks about Chloe. And then this tension between the kids that are not children of housewives and the ones that are. So that we're going to go a season. I don't know how many episodes they'll get. Housewives get a lot of episodes. We're already at season 16, episode like 15 or 16. So I don't know if they'll get that many. I think they'll get a reunion because it's going to be pretty funny. But again, I said I'll go week to week, and I will. It's still worth watching. I will show up for episode 3. So let me just go back through the comments and see if there's anything I missed. I was trying to keep up as I was going along. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think I don't know if I read this one, but I agree with it. Sharon says, Georgia is going to be trouble, and she keeps zeroing in on Riley. She does, and that fake, like, she wants to be her friend. She doesn't want to be her friend. They had a scene with her in her apartment getting ready and all this, and she's like, Riley was being kind of aggressive. She was being really serious about me not washing my hands, and she just recoiled the way she recoiled. So now you cannot wash your hands. Make an announcement that, I don't wash my hands, and, big up germs, and then make the other person look bad as it. And she actually said, my body, my choice. No, not unless it goes both ways. Okay. Is Riley's body her choice? Church 612 says, of course, they'll make Riley out to be that. Yeah. And I could see Ava sitting back and acting like she doesn't know anything about it. Ava was kind of being a provocateur last week. She was trying to make, the text that that Charlie sent to Brooks. She wanted them to show. She was like, show it. She was rooting for it to be shown. Sean Garbo, you never liked Damon Dash? I always liked him. He always made me laugh because he and Jay-Z, they did start Rockefeller together. But Damon always said that he allowed Jay-Z to be the laid back, cool one. And he would be aggressive with people, like kind of in defense of Jay-Z, just so that Jay-Z didn't burn any bridges. And that came back to bite him because Damon has learned. He's burned a lot of bridges over the years, and Jay-Z really has not. Now, some people talk about Jay-Z and some of the things supposedly he has done, but he has not burned the bridges that Damon Dash has. Oh, if they get rid of Riley, I'm out. Mid-season, if they do anything where Riley doesn't want to come back or whatever, there's nobody else to hold me, honestly. So she's my internet niece. We have adopted her over here, and it's going to be Riley all day, all the time. Ava, I'm just looking at with a side eye. Gia, I don't mind as far as on this series, even though I know she brings a lot of baggage from Jersey, driving the tunnel every day. And then Brooks, I'm hearing people say things about Brooks. Supposedly he's really in Meredith Marks' business, especially with the other castmates, and he's supposed to be kind of bratty. I haven't seen it yet. I don't like Charlie, and I still don't like Georgia. They introduced some new people, but they didn't really stick with me yet. Dylan, Charlie's roommate, he seemed to be an okay kid. But some of them seem like they want to use somebody. So for Riley to tell the story where she invites the kid somewhere and he shows up 10 deep and then get mad at her because she left him on the curb. Because believe me, if they Googled Ariana, they've Googled Candy and they know her net worth and they know that Riley is a child of privilege. And Candy's already put it out there. You got to wrap this up within a year. You're going to be financially self-sufficient, which I don't think that she really means it. Okay, I don't think she means it. Ava like her mama. She leans clear. Mama Bees, I believe that's the case. Because Damon even was saying, I wish we all got along. Now, I don't know how Damon treated Rachel Roy. I know Rachel Roy, she has her own dirt, too, that she's put out there and then people have put out there about her. But, yeah, Ava definitely she would lean more toward defending Georgia over defending Riley. Unfortunately, just from what I can see. So thank you, everybody, for joining me for Next Gen NYC Review. This is episode 2. Again, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I'll give it a 7. I didn't rate last week, so I give it a 7, too. It's a little better than mid. It's kind of worth watching. It's funny just to see what the young people, what they're doing, what they're into. And this is not your average group of young people. So I can't really fairly compare them to young people, but I do like the fact that I'm familiar with at least the parents of half the cast. So I think this will be a pretty good show so far. So everybody join us tonight for Dropping Extra Sassy Tea Talk. I'm going to double check the time, but usually it's around 7:45 on Wednesdays. So I'll be glad to see everybody join us later. Thank you for stopping in, and everybody enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, your hump day. You think it was better than the first episode? It was. It moved on a little bit. And then now that we've met everybody, we can kind of just watch for the action. So thank you. Thanks for joining, everybody. See you later. Bye.